try and make this a little bit interactive if we can, if it's possible. So if you've got anything that you sort of want to say, just pop it in the comments and I'll try and get to it sort of before we end today's session. So I just wanted to start with, hi, Andrew. I just wanted to start with a little bit about myself. I'm a naturopath and a nutritionist, and I'm also a herbalist. So I deal with herbal tinctures a lot in what I do. I specialise, I've developed an interest in men's health. So that's basically where I like to treat, is in the men's health realm. And so I've been sort of having this journey with wellness for about 24 years now, since my daughter was a baby. And can anyone just give me a comment to see if this is streaming okay? Because to me, it's a little bit lagging. Is it? Can you give me a thumbs up if it's streaming okay? You can hear me? Okay, we'll just keep going. So when my daughter was a baby, just a little bit of background about myself. Hi, Rach. Thanks for tagging me in this last night, because I thought I was on at 6 p.m. So a little bit unorganised, but that's okay. So when my daughter was a baby, I took her to the doctor because she all of a sudden started getting really upset, crying when she hadn't before. She was about 6 months and I'd introduced her to solids. And so I had taken her to the doctor because she was arching her back and really upset, and I just knew that there was something wrong with my baby. And he said to me, "You're lucky she sleeps at all, go home, just don't worry about it." But the nurse who was there at the time, who was a lovely lady, said, "Oh, look, let's just do a urine sample." And so it ended up that she had a urinary tract infection. And she had a urinary tract infection because I was feeding her my breast milk. And because I had allergies that was going through the milk, she had allergies as well, food intolerances and allergies. And so it was a phone call to a local actual homeopath, and she diagnosed me over the phone that I was allergic to wheat, gluten, or wheat, dairy and yeast. So I removed those things from my diet. Happy baby. I improved my health a lot. And I thought, you know what, this lady's diagnosed me over the phone. And this, that's when my journey with wellness and being a naturopath sort of all started. So so it's sort of since, morphed into, wanting to, I don't often treat children. I do treat children, but it's not my specialty. The men's health is my specialty, and I've sort of had to work my way through that in the last few months as well, to work out why I really love old men. And I've worked it out. It's because my grandfather was an amazing man, and my dad also had a lot of close friends. So I grew up around a lot of men that were really positive and really just lovely men, really. And so I never really had that negative experience with men, and I've always got along really well with men. I can talk to them and converse with them. And so I think that's where, my love for men has come from. And so I'm on a journey to make sure, to make it more sort of, I want men to live as long as what women do. And I think the difference in the way that we look after our health is key to that. So, getting men to talk about their health issues before they get into a state, where they have to start going and having surgery and interventions and things like that, because the body doesn't just all of a sudden, oh, now you've got this thing. It happens over years and years and years. And so there are warning signs there, which a lot of guys do choose to ignore. So I'm on a mission to make that, not happen anymore, to get the guys to speak up about stuff, and we can do sort of prevention type stuff as well, particularly with prostate cancer and blood pressure and cardiovascular issues as well, and weight management. So today I'm here to talk about learning to let go. Not really a naturopath type of a subject, but one that I have learnt to use in my own life through issues that I've been going through. I've done a lot of personal development. I mean, a lot. Literally thousands and thousands of dollars worth of personal development. Every time I leave a husband, I do personal development, and I've had my second divorce now. So, go me. And so I've done a lot of personal development. I started my personal development journey with a local Perth mob called MJB seminars, and I did their full suite. So they'd do weekends and then you do like another full week as well. So I've done that. I've done DeMartini, Dr. John DeMartini, and those two teachings are very similar there, and I'll talk about that in a minute. I've listened to a lot of Abraham Hicks. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of Abraham. It's a little bit woo-woo. So look up Abraham Hicks, and also Louise Hay, who, the book, I don't have it to hand. You Can Heal Your Life. She was like the mother of personal development. She does a lot of affirmations and stuff like that, and she looks at disease in the body and where it manifests and why it manifests in regard to your what's going on, in your mind. So that's sort of like mind-body connection. And also a local young lad called Calvin Coyles. He is an awesome young man, very, very gifted. I did his stuff a couple of years ago, and that was major for me in shifting my very poor track record of choosing the wrong people for me. And I'll quickly talk about that. So I was in this relationship, and I dumped this guy 6 times, and it was just tragic for both of us. And I sort of started to think, oh, what the hell? And I was at Calvin's weekend, and I said something to him, and he said something back to me. He said, oh, like you're being righteous or something like that. And I developed over that weekend, I developed this thing of, okay, well, what do I want in a man? What is it, what is it that I want? And because it had all these shit relationships, I was able to determine what I didn't want. So I started writing my list of, this is what I want in a man. And I worked out over that weekend that I would never be proud of this guy. He would never make me proud. I wouldn't be, I was imagining myself being in a room, and, if you're in a room and your partner's over there and you look over to them and you look over and you just think, oh, wow, they're amazing. He's over there talking to some chick, but I know he's not going to be hitting on her. I know he's faithful to me, and I know he loves me, and, he's not going to embarrass me. And so I realized that I would never be proud of this guy. And so for me, that was it. Well, what's the point being with someone who you're never going to be proud of just because of their behavior, the way that they are? So that was really important for me, and it opened me up to, having a lot more self-love and going, you know what, you deserve to have this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And so I just got more fussy with, who I hung around with. And as a result of that, I met the most amazing man. He's just beautiful. And we have an amazing relationship, and a relationship that, I never ever thought was even possible. So for those of you sitting in a shit relationship where you're getting pissed off all the time and you're clashing, I really just don't think that it's worth staying with someone that you feel that way about. But that's my take on it. So once I did this personal development, I sort of developed my own, taken little bits out of all the stuff, that I wanted to. And I've developed my own, way of working things out. And it may not be right for you. It may not be right at all. But this is sort of how I've learned to deal with stuff, because, you go through divorce and all things happen. You've got kids and there's always stuff going on. And there's always stuff that you can pay attention to as well. So, you could spend days, ruminating over this, that, the other, and all these things coming, the news, Trump, whatever, someone's dropped or let their dog poo on the thing and they haven't picked it up. I mean, you could go all day on about, this and that and the other, or you could choose to just not go on about that, because really, how is that serving you? So I wanted to talk a little bit about DeMartini, and I'll do that. So DeMartini and MJB seminars teach the duality of things. So in the universe, in our world, everything exists in duality. So you have night and you have day, you have hot and you have cold. So there's just a couple of examples. So sometimes when shitty things happen to us, it's an opportunity for us to work out, okay, well, why has this happened? What's the reason for this? Have I played a part in this? Of course you have. What steps have led this to come to this point here? So instead of sitting there going, poor me, oh, wow, this shitty thing's happened to me. This person's been so shitty to me. Why me? Why me? Why me? You need to look at it and go, well, okay, well, how have I allowed this person to do this to me? What, have I played my part? Of course you have. And also, what is this opportunity going to give me here right now? So a lot of the times, we look back on our lives and we at the time thought that thing was really bad that happened. You didn't get that job and you didn't, something didn't happen the way that you wanted it to happen. But then when you look back, you think, okay, well, actually that worked out really well for me. Yes, I had a bit of a bad time for a little while and I was upset and I was heartbroken. But you know what? After that, things started to go well and this went well and that went well. And now look where I am. If that thing hadn't have happened back there that at the time I thought was just the worst thing in the world, I wouldn't be where I am today. So when you sort of think about that, and a friend of mine said to me once, he's Christian, he said to me, Rachel, when you know that you've got the big fella at your back, you're walking into, something that's going to be bad for you, say family court or something like that, you feel safe and secure because you know that no matter what happens, and the big guy can be God, the big guy can be the universe, can be Buddha, it can be whoever you want it to be, whoever you believe in, your guardian angels, whoever. When you've got, that at your back, you know that you're going to be okay. And so it's sort of like, I don't want people to like put all of their faith in something else, but sometimes you need to have some faith in something. So for me, a lot of the times I would ask my angels for help. I would say, oh, just help me, just help me. I don't know what to do here. And so that's really worked for me personally. And so the learning to let go part of what I wanted to talk to you about today is the process of deciding that a thing or person or something is not going to occupy your thoughts any longer. So you work out, okay, what is this thing? What is this thing that sort of keeps on going around in my head? And usually it's a gut feeling and you should listen to your gut feelings. God, it's taken me 5 years to listen to my gut feeling. I always made excuses for people. Oh, well, maybe not. Oh, maybe I'm just being paranoid. No, you're not being paranoid. That's your gut feeling and it's right. So bloody listen to it. That's, if there's the only thing that you can take away from today, it's that. So number one, you need to identify. So this is my 3-step method, okay? Only 3, that's pretty cool. Only 3, not 9, 7, 11. Identify that there is actually an issue, that it's not just a passing thing that's happening. It is actually an issue that you need to do something about. And sometimes, you do need to let things go. And for instance, something's happening and someone said to you, okay, so-and-so is going to come over on the weekend, and you think, oh no, that's not going to be good for me. I'm not going to be happy with that. And so you spend all this time thinking of all of these different scenarios that are going to go on, and the weekend comes and then all of a sudden that person cancels. And you're like, oh, I spent all that bloody time worrying and thinking about, oh, well, I'm just going to stay away from them or whatever. And it was just a complete waste of time. And if you had have just let it go and gone, okay, well, I'll get to that when it happens. If it happens, when it happens, I'll deal with it then, rather than making all these scenarios, because where energy goes, something flows. Can't remember. Rach, do you know that one? Where energy, yeah, that saying. So all the energy that you're putting out, for this thing is actually making it get momentum and making that thing into something actually bigger than it would have been if you had just left it back there. Like, not even going to give this any energy. This is just whatever it's going to be is going to be. Just let it go. So I've learned to do that, and I do it all the time. People will be saying about this and that and the other, and I just don't give it anything at all. I've really learnt that if I actually am worried about something, I'll just sit with it. Some people meditate, they'll say, oh, I meditated on that. I try, and this is probably not a good thing. I try to block things out. I'll go, I'm not even giving that any attention, because it's just not worth it. So the way I do that is either by thinking of my happy place. So happy place is, for me, in the middle of the ocean, bobbing around with the sun, with fish all underneath me, and snorkeling on a beautiful day, and maybe sometimes there might be a dolphin over there or something like that. That's, for me, that's my happy place, and I can visualize myself being there. So for you, it might be something different. So you're sort of like pushing that thought away and just going, nah, that's not, nah, and thinking and just redirecting your brain into something else that's nicer. So once you've identified that there is actually an issue that you need to sort out, you need to then decide if the issue is worth giving attention to. So that's my 3-step method. So number 1, have you thought of the outcome of what would happen if this thing that you're worried about did actually happen? So example, you've heard that people are getting laid off at your work, and everyone's talking about it, and la la la, and you're thinking, oh, if I lost my job, this would happen, and you just spend all your time worrying about not losing your job, instead of thinking about all of the negative things. Like, okay, well, I'm not going to have any money. I might lose my house. How am I going to pay for my car? What am I going to do? Think about, okay, if I did lose my job, what would I do? All right, well, I could actually go and look for another job. I could start looking for a job now. I could, I've got enough in savings. That'll get me through 2 weeks. I'm going to go and look at, like, do I even like this job? Actually, what? I've been really not happy here for ages, and I'd really love to, at the moment I'm a plumber, but I'd really love to take up acrylic artwork. Or, I used to love that as a kid, and that really, floats my boat. So sometimes there's opportunities. And so you think about, okay, well, if I did lose my job, what would happen? And picture yourself losing your job. Okay, I've lost my job. Wow, okay, now what am I going to do? And that kickstarts your mind into working out something that's going to be of benefit of you, rather than thinking about what if, and it works quite well, because then you become clear with it. You become clear, well, okay, if this happens, I'm going to do this, and if this happens, I'm going to do this, so I'm sorted. I'm okay. And then you can balance that emotion out. You can balance out that worry and all of that stuff that's just a complete waste of time. And you can just get on with it. And you'll find that most of the time when you do that, whatever, basically whatever's going to happen is going to happen anyway, because it's all planned out. But when you work out that, you will feel a lot more at peace with yourself. So you've done the scenario. So then number 2, you write down the pros and the cons of if it did actually happen. So, okay, I don't lose my job. What are the pros and what are the cons? I do lose my job. What are the pros and what are the cons? And you need to go deep with this, like you need to get all of that stuff out. You need to get it out of your brain. So you can just do like 4 columns. And if anyone wants like a template, I'm happy to send it to them. Just make a comment and I'll do it. So then, number 3 is what is the actual likelihood of that thing actually happening? Or is it actually just all in your brain and your brain's just talking shit, So, because a lot of us spend a lot of time worrying about stuff that will never happen, and it's not a good place to be. It's not a good existence being like that. It leads to anxiety. It can lead to depression, and it just makes you not as a functioning person as good as that you could be, because you could be putting all of that energy that your brain going into these big scenarios. And it's probably coming out in your dreams as well, and you're having these horrific dreams about, all of this stuff happening, and it's never going to happen. So that's the number 3. Like, what is the likelihood of it actually happening, or is it just all made up in your mind because that's just how you've been programmed, and that's what you've been doing. So that is pretty much me for today. I think I talked about, did I talk about the relationships? I did, I think, where if you're sort of in between relationships, you need to formulate your ideal partner. And so you need to sit and write down all of the things that you want in your partner. And don't settle for anything else, pretty much. That's my advice to people when it comes to, if you keep on getting the same people turning up, same with just relationships as far as friends as well. You can do that with your friends, you can do it with also, your family, because sometimes we get given our family and we don't actually choose them. So if you've got someone in your family that is constantly getting on your goat, you can go, okay, well, do I actually want to spend time with this person? I'm going to do my best to avoid that person as much as I can, because it's not making me feel good whenever I'm around them. So, and I've done that, I've done that in my past too, and it needs to be done. You need to do it to protect yourself, and you need to do it so that, people aren't treating you like shit as well. We're not here. We're not put here for that. So that's it for me. I'll just put it out there. Has anyone got anything that they wanted to ask me? Okay, yeah, thanks, Rach. Where focus goes, energy flows. I'm not a morning person at all. Like, this is, for me, I'm terrible. Yeah, never settle for second best. And, Rach, we actually did the weekend together. I've actually done that since as well. That first weekend, I've gone back with my partner and done that weekend again. But Rach and I sat together on that first weekend, and yeah, it's personal development is great. Everyone should do it. Like we're born, our parents formulate stuff, but we take on all their stuff, and so sometimes you get to a stage where you go, well, who the fuck am I? You know, I don't even know who I am. I've been, you know, a mother or this and that. I've you know, I've run businesses. I've tried to be good to everyone. And, you know, what do I actually want? And what do I, you know, want to do? And so for me, it took me, you know, 24 years pretty much, well, not quite that long. But it took me a long time to do what I wanted to do. You know, I only started studying 9 years ago. So I had like a 12-year break where I was wanting to be, you know, actually I wanted to be a homeopath. But by the time I became like wanted to train, I could train, they got rid of the homeopathy. But I'm glad I became a naturopath because there's so many other different things you can do as a naturopath as well as doing homeopathy as well. So, yeah, it took a long time for me to realise my dream, but all of the weekends where I spent studying all weekend and doing assignments and all of that, you know, leisure time that I gave up, I was never begrudging of it. Because I loved it. It was my passion. And so that's, you know, that's the difference when you're doing something. And you'll hear this all the time, you know, do what you love and then it'll never be like work. So, and it's true. So yeah, Shannon, what's the best that could happen? Absolutely. Yeah. Thinking big, thinking outside the square. All right. So I think that's it. I don't know if I've gone over my time or not. Oh, nearly like 2 minutes to half an hour. So if anyone's got any questions, put them in the comments and yeah, we'll catch up another time. Thank you all for coming and listening, all 10 of you. It's awesome. And I hope you have a great day. I can't believe it's still dark. Crazy. So have a great day and I'll see you soon. Bye. Now I don't know how to, oh, here we go.